We are the partners of Solarian Games.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Peter. And tonight's stories. D&D cans major video game less than a year after it was announced. Castle Rat shoots back against industry plant allegations. Industry plant.
Yeah.
Board Game Geek ad rejection possesses the internet and gets AM fired. WotC rejects the union. D&D announces Gen Con plans. An article on fishing in D&D. Hey, I got fishing right. And actual play database series Seeker saved from deletion. That's an interesting one too.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start this out. So, D&D has been lately has been expanding a lot of things, a lot of different directions, but they've also been consolidating and reorganizing everything, especially with some of the new people in charge, especially the main guy in charge, who has been, trying to funnel everything through a single kind of plan, all organized and everything. But Wizards of the Coast has ended its partnership with developer Giant Skull. That's a good name.
That is a good name.
Yeah, which means curtains for its D&D video game. According to Bloomberg, Hasbro has announced on May 19th that it would not go ahead with early concepts for the game. Now, that's a year. So in a year, they've only gotten to early concepts for the game, which is kind of interesting to me. You would think they'd be further.
I don't know how the business works. Is that normal? I really don't know.
For the video game business, not really, because as far as I know, because I've done some reading up on this, and I work with a guy who used to work in the actual video, AAA video game industry. Yeah. And we were talking about like how technology advances, and when you start making a game, basically, if your game is not done in 3 years, you're screwed, because the technology you were building for after 3 years is now ahead of where your game was. So you've really got like a 3-year window to get your game done.
Right. Whereas in the early days of the video game industry, if it wasn't out in 3 months, you were screwed because things were moving so fast.
Pretty much.
Because your Atari game was basically made by one guy sitting in the basement with a lot of Jolt Cola.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I think this looks like Spider-Man now. I've got all 5 of his pixels.
Yeah. Right. Oh man, Jolt Cola. That was my favorite soda of all time. All right. Anyway, so Giant Skull was founded in 2024, and its partnership with Wizards was announced in July 2025. Okay, so it's not even a full year, so that's not too bad. That's not too bad.
Okay, so it sounds like they kind of made this company to make the game.
Yeah, it does sound like
I know
that.
The Giant Skull comes from some serious background, so they put it together for this game, it sounds like.
Yeah, so I'm going to say July 2025 to where we are now. Probably a little bit of a loss, but I wonder if they probably paid up front. They probably didn't take too much of a loss.
Yeah.
Anyway, the developer plans to create a story-rich action-adventure game set in Dungeons & Dragons universe. Now, less than a year later, the project is dead. Hasbro, holy crap. Oh, this is all video games. Sorry.
Yeah, not
Hasbro
just this one.
Not just this one. Holy shit, I was going to say, God damn. Hasbro has invested over $1 billion.
Billion with a B for boy. I'd like to have $1 billion.
Yeah, I know, right? Into video game development. Just imagine if we had $1 billion to invest in anything with our company.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Anyway, so Disney Dreamlight Valley announced a cozy co-op D&D game,
which is still happening.
Yes,
that's part of the $1 billion.
And then another one, Invoke Studios, Hasbro.
Yeah, they're part of Hasbro.
Warlock, a third-person action adventure. So there's 2 games still going on.
Yep.
Now, like you were saying, Giant Skull was founded by Stig Asmund.
Stig.
Stig. God damn.
Stig. Like the Stig from Top Gear.
There's a T in there. Stig. Yeah.
See,
I
knew you were going to be reading this, so I made sure to put his name in there.
I know, right? The well-respected director of games such as God of War 3 and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. After he left Electronic Arts in 2023, he recruited several industry veterans who had worked with him on the Star Wars game at EA. Yay. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's some heavy hitters.
Let's see. There was something else in here? Okay, there are new pitches from Giant Skull still being considered, according to Hasbro. So they haven't washed their hands of them yet. Either party hasn't washed their hands of each other.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um,
That sounds like sort of a we'll still be friends.
yeah,
Let's still be
yeah.
friends. We'll do things
We'll,
together.
we'll get together. I swear.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, so they've canceled that game.
All right. So if you were looking forward to the video game that
shoot.
didn't have a name yet,
I forgot this.
it's gone. Oh yeah, I guess that's their giant skull. So.
Yeah.
Skulls don't usually have eyeballs, but what the heck?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Why not?
All right.
All right, moving on. This is just game adjacent and a good excuse to put up a picture of Castle Rat. Castle Rat. So, first of all, who's Castle Rat? Castle Rat is a medieval fantasy doom metal band. They are the hotness in terms of gamers right now. They've got this like 70s doom metal kind of thing, kind of like a Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin kind of thing going on, but definitely doing their own new deal. And they show up looking like a Frank Frazetta painting, especially the singer. What is her name? Riley Pinkerton. That's who we see on the screen right now. Always out there in a chainmail bikini, but great singer, great guitarist. The whole band's amazing. I don't know where this is coming from, but for some reason, people have been calling everybody and their mother an industry plant. Like the moment somebody gets attention, they're like, industry plant, industry plant. Wet Leg, remember them, the indie band Wet Leg, they got accused of it. Partially because they seemed like they kind of came out of nowhere, but they really didn't, just people hadn't been paying attention. And now there's another indie band called Geese from Brooklyn that is the industry darlings, and they kind of maybe are an industry plant. They seem like they have a lot of money behind them for what they are. But I don't really know who's been making these accusations, to tell you the truth, but it's showing up all over the place on Reddit saying Castle Rat's just an industry plant, like they're the monkeys or something.
Hold on. So if you have talented musicians,
Yeah.
right, and let's say they do have the industry behind them and giving them money or whatever, but you like their music, they're doing good stuff. Why do people care so much? Why is it such a big deal?
I think that there is a song by Morrissey that can kind of sum this up, and it's called "We Hate It When Our Friends Become Successful." That is, I think the title of that song kind of tells it all. Oh, this is great. I got to put this up on the screen.
Oh God, that's funny.
There we go. Mike Pickett, thank you. He's starting a rumor that Castle Rat is going to be playing at ModCon this week.
Hey,
Good rumor.
I heard that somewhere, Jason. I heard that.
I heard it. It's not true. It's not true. Nobody is playing at ModCon.
Wait, no, people are playing.
Nobody's playing. Nobody's bringing a band with guitars to play. There you go.
Right.
But yeah, so I really don't know what it is. I think it is. It's just pure jealousy. They're doing great. They're a great band. I guess there's a difference between the industry seeing something and putting a lot of money into it versus being like prefab. I think that's what people are saying, is that there was no Castle Rat until somebody with a bunch of money said, I know what's going to work. But it's ridiculous. So I'm going to give the quote from Riley, from the singer, who said, well, actually, I don't have an exact quote, but she basically said how absurd it is to think that music executives would secretly back a niche rodent-themed fantasy metal band as their major cash cow.
Right.
So yeah, they crowdfunded their last album called The Bestiary, and that came out just pretty recently in September. And so right there, it was crowdfunded. It wasn't backed by anything else. Their shows are amazing. They do like sword battles. They have the Rat Reaper-S that comes out. It's just super fun. So not a lot to say on this story except that Castle Rat is not an industry plant, and they're amazing and they're cool. And people who are running big conventions probably should have them play at their conventions.
Be cool. That would be very cool.
That would
if
be
they
huge.
started getting some of these like gaming adjacent bands at conventions, that would be awesome. Maybe we'll do it next year at ModCon too.
I mean, they should be playing at Gen Con. They should be playing in the whatever that oil stadium is called. I forget what it's called. Where they have it. They should do that. So
Bring them in. And there was this Viking band I saw. They opened for Ghost, and me and my daughter, I can't remember their name. I'm not into them, but I thought they were awesome.
yeah.
But they come out on stage, and and they've got the whole Viking thing, and the guy picks up Mjolnir, and there's this giant inflatable dragon that they roll in, and he's fighting the dragon with Mjolnir. It's really cool. I love watching that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
that's awesome. Yeah, Lucas Oil. Thank you, Scott. It's Lucas Oil's where they should play.
So
All right.
they should do stuff like that.
So speaking of cool satanic metal, what else do we got for stories?
Oh my God. All right. So this one's ridiculous.
This one's hilarious.
Well, it's hilarious and ridiculous, but also, I don't know. Anyway, so there's a board game publisher, Falling Whale Games, submitted a board game to Board Game Geek.
As an ad.
Or, sorry,
They're
as
going to pay
an
for
ad.
an ad. They're going to pay for an ad.
For their social deduction game called Possess Me Satan. And it got rejected. So the Board Game Geek advertising manager, Chad, of course his name is Chad.
Hey, now come on. I know some good Chads.
I know.
We know a good Chad.
Look,
We got-
I know we do, but that is such a it's sort of like a Karen, right?
Shout out Chad Parrish. We love you.
Yeah, we do. Anyway,
Yeah, and I feel bad for everybody whose real name is Karen because you don't deserve it.
I know. No, I know. I'm just saying yeah. Anyway, so this guy Chad Kryzan or Krizan, one of the two. I
You
don't
get
know.
all the stories with names in them.
Yeah, denied the ad in a highly personal email, citing his Christian faith. He claimed he routinely handles real-world demonic possession and refused to approve the ad because the theme made him sick to his stomach, even urging the creators to cancel the entire game. That is, I mean, come on, made him sick to his stomach.
I want to read a little bit of his letter because, I mean, this is the thing. It's not that it was wrong to reject an ad. It's a
Right.
private business. As long as they're not doing something discriminatory, they've got the right to reject ads. But he was so clear about it that he was basically being discriminatory. Because he says, to be completely transparent, I've been sitting on this one and praying about what to do in this instance. As a follower of Jesus, I routinely help people suffering from demonic oppression and more occasionally possession. Blah, blah, blah. And he goes on, and it's a really long letter. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But it's clear that this person's personal beliefs told them that they couldn't put this ad up. It wasn't a matter of community standards or anything like that, or that there was anything illegal about it. It was just this ad manager's personal beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? If he owned Board Game Geek, that'd be one thing. But he's not the owner.
No, he's not the owner.
No. So,
Matter of fact, he should have talked with the owner about this if he was really that, bothered by the whole thing. He could have just said, "Hey, look, why don't you handle this?"
yeah, and he could have come out and said, I have very deeply held religious beliefs that prohibit me from promoting this. I'd rather they didn't do it. I don't want us to advertise on it. And if you insist on running the ad, I will resign. That is a honorable stand-up stance, and he could have done that.
He could have.
Could have done that, but
So when he was questioned about other occult-themed games on the site, Krizan doubled down, claiming his decision was based on reality, not religion, and that he was protecting users from overtly triggering content. I'm sorry. I looked at this. It doesn't look, come on.
okay. So if you're listening right now on audio, it's cartoonish.
Yeah.
It's silly. I mean, I can't imagine looking at this and thinking, yeah, this person is encouraging me to not only worship Satan, but to do whatever demonic things this guy's worried about. Horror movies exist.
Yeah.
This isn't even horror movie level. There's nothing scary about this. It's got Satan dressed as a student with a backpack on his shoulder. It's, I mean, Good Omens was just on TV. There's a board game. Okay, this is a social deduction game. There is another social deduction game called Secret Hitler.
Yeah.
That's reality. I'm not nothing about anybody's religious beliefs. I'm not going to have any statement about his statement that demonic possession is real. That's his belief, and I respect it. But secret Hitler exists, man. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. So then the email exchange went viral on Reddit,
Of course it would.
sparking fierce community backlash and boycott threats. In response, Board Game Geek CEO Scott Alden swiftly terminated Krazan, stating the email was inappropriate and did not represent the company. The game's crowdfunding campaign remains live and fully funded. There's a quote here that says, due to a situation in which BGG's advertising manager responded inappropriately in a business email to a designer, I have decided to let him go. His response does not reflect or represent our company or the way we conduct business.
I mean, he had no other choice.
Right.
There's really no, unless he wanted to say, yeah, I support this, which yeah, that is a choice. He could have said that if that's how he felt. But if he didn't feel that way, which he clearly didn't, he really had no choice. You cannot have somebody, an ad manager is a very visible representation of your company.
Right. It says a lot about what your company does. I mean, companies are, I mean, in a lot of ways, they're controlled by their ads, because people boycott advertisers, and if the advertisers leave, then the company, so the company has to cater to them. So the people they advertise for or don't advertise for says a lot about a company.
Yeah. And Brian in the chat is making exactly the right point, that what just happened here was whatever that ad manager's name was, he just Streisand affected this thing so well. I mean, this is a perfect example of the Streisand effect. I don't even know, who knows if this game would have even funded otherwise.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm guessing, I don't know, did they say they actually did run the ad or they didn't? What happened?
Did he say he ran the ad?
I couldn't tell if they ran the ad or not, because if they did not run the ad, then these guys just saved a buttload of money and, just got a ton of free advertising.
Yeah, no doubt.
So good job to them.
It does not say whether they ran the ad or not, but I'm going to assume they did because it kind of sounds like that's where the story was going.
Yeah. But I mean, whatever they spent on the ad, I think they got a lot more than their money's worth.
Oh, yeah, they did.
I mean, to tell you the truth, it doesn't even look like that great of a game. It looks fine.
No,
like
it looks okay.
It looks like it would be fun to play. Yeah, okay, I would do this. But I don't think that this was going to be a world-changing, event. This wasn't the next Magic the Gathering. It's just, it's a nice game. And now it's a nice game that probably is going to go pretty far from people who are going to want to make a fuss about, like, I've got Possess Me Satan,
Right.
So the only thing they could do better than this would be if, after they printed all of them, say the printer told us they wouldn't do it anymore and they burned all the masters, so these are all that'll ever exist, or something like that.
Right.
Which is that's not happening. I just made that up. But so
hold on, I'm looking it up now. It's at $31,000.
yeah, good job, guys. Which for a card game with that many cards, that's not a lot of money. So
it's not.
If you really, I guess the next question is going to be, are we going to see a story that says, "Ooh, we didn't realize how much it costs to print cards and we can't put it out"?
Yeah. Well, they got 26 days left, so.
Well, we'll see what happens. I'm sure that they'll do well. I'm sure they'll do fine. But yeah. All right. Next story. No surprise here. Wizards of the Coast rejects Union. I don't know. Can they reject the Union? I don't know if that's the right story. Okay, so here's the basis of the story. There is a newly formed union called United Wizards of the Coast. I think that's what the union's called.
Yep, that's the logo I got up on the screen.
I don't know what the CWA stands for. Creative Workers of America, I think. It's weird because there is a growing movement to unionize creative roles, because especially in the tech industry. Well, Wizards is kind of in the tech industry. Creative jobs have never really been unionized because, well, the way the industry works, you're just moving from job to job so much, and it's generally a pretty well-paid part of society. It's not the same as being in pipe fitters union or electricians. Well, they're paid well too.
They're paid pretty well.
You know why they're paid well? Thanks to the unions.
Yeah, right.
But it's been this kind of growing thing. I've had people approach me about it, and I'm like, sure, then let me know how it goes. And then they kind of, you don't hear from them again. Who knows what's going to happen? But these folks got together and said, you know, we're going to create this union. And I guess they went to Wizards of the Coast with all of it, and Wizards has begun thanks Scott, Communications Workers of America. That's right, because it's like everything from I don't know what it is. It's techie stuff, basically, creative and techie stuff. And so Wizards has been doing a campaign to encourage people not to join the union. I don't think it's that heavy-handed. I'm just going to opinionate or editorialize here a little bit. As union busting tactics go, it's not like Amazon where they, you know, threaten to shut down entire factories or warehouses or whatever over it. Basically, but still, if Wizards is trying to appeal to a younger audience and an audience that tends to, in their case, be fairly pro-union, it's not a good look to do anything other than say, have your union. So what they did instead was they wrote some letters out and they sent them to people. First they sent emails and then they sent actual physical letters. And so we have one of them here that somebody put up. Rogue, I forget their last name. Did we put it in the story? Rogue Kessler, thank you. Yep. So they sent one to Rogue Kessler, who is, I didn't write down what they do for Wizards, but they do something at Wizards. Dear Rogue, we're writing to you at home which is kind of an ominous way to start a letter. We are writing to you at home because the decision you will soon make is an important one. It's not just about a workplace election. It's about your voice, your future, and the kind of relationship you want to have with the rest of the Wizards organization moving forward. That's sort of anodyne if it's just written to anybody, but when it's written by your employer who holds the keys to your paycheck, it's a little bit of a weird way to start a letter. And they go on and talk about the fact that the election's coming up and that some people want a union, and some people, it says, we know people may look at this issue differently. Some have shared that they prefer to maintain a direct working relationship with leadership, while others are still gathering information or may feel the CWA could play a role. Basically, the letter goes on to lay out this idea that as an employee of Wizards of the Coast, you'd be better off having, quote unquote, a direct working relationship as opposed to going through a third party. And they're trying to scare people into saying, you know, if you join a union, we can't promise that you're ever going to get a raise again because our hands are going to be tied. And they say things like, the bargaining process can be lengthy, 465 days on average. Well, somebody put up on Blue Sky, somebody put up the goose meme where he's going, why is it 465 days? Why is it 465 days? You know, because if you're fighting really hard to make sure you don't give your employees what they're asking for, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
And it's certainly not a direct relationship, because if you're an employee and you've got the Wizards of the Coast CEO who is 5 levels above you and you're not even allowed to talk to them, it's not much of a direct relationship, especially if they can fire you anytime, and if you leave, it doesn't really hurt Wizards that much. But if they fire you, that hurts you a lot.
Right.
So it's I mean, that's kind of why somebody put you. I see you have the quote up here on the screen that somebody put. I thought it was really funny. Unions are like condoms. If somebody is trying very hard to convince you you don't need one, you definitely need one.
Right.
So I don't know what the outcome of this really is. It says here Wizards rejects the union. I think what they meant by that is that they reject it in that they're telling people not to do it. Right. But it's up to the employees themselves to decide whether they're going to unionize. So I think that the law prevents a company from firing people over joining a union, but it doesn't prevent them from shutting down a plant or something like that. So we'll see where it goes. I don't think Wizards is going to get heavy-handed about this because it's terrible PR for them to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But Wizards has been pretty good about having terrible PR in the past, so you never know.
They seem to have been surviving it too, so.
That's the thing. I mean, Magic the Gathering is their cash cow still, and they've done so much to anger and alienate Magic players over the years. and shutting down third-party stuff, even literally sending Pinkertons after people,
Yeah.
and people still buy it.
Yeah, they do.
So you never know. Let me just see here. Oh, Bert's got. Oh, hey, Bert. Um, Bert says there was a whole thing with the union at Paizo for the employees back in 2021, but I don't recall Paizo being a big pain about it. And doesn't WotC typically have annual layoffs anyways? Yes,
Pretty
they
much.
do.
Yeah.
They do. I think they lost. I know Hasbro lost like 1,000 employees they got rid of or something.
Yeah, just recently.
Yeah. So, yes, 3 years on from laying off over 1,000 people. So, I think if you're working at Wizards and you like your job and you want to continue doing it, that's probably not a bad idea to get yourself that condom.
Right.
So, uh, and yeah, I think Paizo was a lot more chill about it. I think Paizo basically said, okay, you guys want to unionize, we're cool with that. But Paizo, as far as I know, is not a publicly traded company.
Okay.
And so with Wizards being part of Hasbro and a publicly traded company, they have got fiscal or fiduciary responsibilities, I think legal ones, to essentially, I'm going to get this wrong, and if somebody in the chat wants to chime in and correct me on it, but I think basically what it comes down to is that as a publicly traded company, you're more or less required by SEC rules to do everything you can to maximize shareholder value.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do with what's best for your customers or what's best for your employees. It only has to do with what's best for your stock price. So
Even worse, it's only quarterly.
yeah,
So you can't even you can't plan anything out past 3 months. So
Right.
every 3 months you've got to show a gain in profit, and so it's all short term thinking. I really hate that model. I mean,
it's a mess, and it's not something that's been around forever. It's only been around since the 1970s. It's a relatively new thing, and there are other ways that corporations can format themselves, I guess, for lack of a better word, so that you don't have to do that. And I know Scott Congable knows a bit about this. There's structures for creating employee-owned companies that avoid some of this trouble. So there's ways around it. But Wizards is part of a much bigger company. They don't control how Hasbro does things. I'm sure they're getting their pressure down on them too. Not a fun thing for anybody, but that's what's going on over at Wizards with the unions.
Yeah. All right. Next up, D&D has plans. That's funny the way they say this, the way this article was written. It's from InWorld. But it says D&D has plans for Gen Con. I mean, isn't it Wizards has plans? How does D&D is a property. How does it have plans for anything? But anyway,
I'll just throw in one thing on the last story.
Yeah.
So Scott says the junta or regime or whatever you call it wants to go away from quarterly reporting for private companies. So who knows? I don't know. That's probably something to do with wanting to do more fraud. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
All right, so Dungeons and Dragons has announced some preliminary plans for Gen Con.
All right.
Everybody knows Gen Con is.
Yep.
They're going to have some live performances of their Dungeon Master show, a live concert. Hey, they're going to have a concert.
Cool.
They should have what was it, Rat?
Castle Rat.
Castle Rat, yeah.
So hold on. So just to give a little context here, if I remember right, Wizards has not been supporting Gen Con as much as you would expect in recent years. Like they had a year they didn't even show up, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so this is kind of important that they're rededicating themselves to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the events will take place at the Indiana Repertory Theater, a 6-story. I don't really say repertory too often. Anyway,
I don't use it, the rep.
Yeah, a 6-story building in the heart of downtown Indianapolis.
It's beautiful.
Taken over by D&D and turned into a D&D tower, which Wizards describes as 6 D&D-ified floors and adventures galore. Now,
that's like a convention in and of itself.
Yeah, I've been in that building when they were doing an event. When they were doing, so they were launching this back when D&D 5, before it was called D&D 5. I can't remember what it was called at the time. Next, yeah. And it was their first big event where they released this book that was sort of like a pre, Dungeon Master's Guide and Player's
Yeah.
Handbook. It was just
Yeah,
like a quick start.
The
It
stuff
had, like,
with
an adventure
Scott
in it.
Kurtz.
Yeah, I have it on my shelf somewhere because I
Yeah.
went to this event. That was the year that I got on as a guest for press. I got on as
Mhm,
a press member for Mythwits when I was doing that, and I interviewed a few people while I was there. So it's a pretty cool place, and what they did before was a really cool event. It was nice.
I mean, it's amazing to think that they can just take over this entire 6-story building and and I 100% believe they got room for it. I mean, they have enough stuff to fill it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's if you're going to Gen Con, some people's experience is just going to be that building.
Yeah, could be. So they've made as we're saying, they've been making a conscious effort to increase their presence at Gen Con in recent years. So they're trying to make, I don't know, do their comeback show or something.
I mean, that's a heck of a way to do it.
Yeah. And then there's a couple of panel announcements I have here.
Okay.
Earlier this year, D&D head Dan Ayub
Yep.
confirmed that, I got that right, confirmed that they'd use Gen Con as a future home for annual announcements related to the Dungeons and Dragons game. Good choice.
I mean, where else are they going to do it?
Where else were you going to do? Right. Yeah. With the timeline for future releases given each summer, it's expected that a fall 2026 book will be announced at Gen Con.
Mhm.
Anyway, just real quick, I'm not going to read into all these, but some of the scheduled stuff includes Dungeon Dare, a web of the Red Wizards. And it's like you descend into the Underdark and get caught in the twisted machinations of the Red Wizards.
Cool.
It looks like it's an adventure that you do. So maybe they're going to have different groups. Like maybe this is going to be like not just like one little event, or not say little, one event in the middle of a hall or something. This might be, multiple games. I'm not really sure because they're saying you get pre-built level 3 characters. So I'm assuming that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's something called the Puppy Roll 3 live.
Cool. What's that?
It's okay. It says Paws Will Roll. The Puppy Roll returns to Gen Con with an all-star cast to take the stage, led by Puppy Roll creator Doggy Master. Oh, I love that.
That's cool.
And I am not even saying this name. I'm not doing it.
All right.
Because I'm just going to screw it up.
Hold on. Let me go. I wasn't looking at your notes. Let me go through your notes. Who's our Puppy Roll master?
It's it's the green. It's the one.
The green one here. What's it? Oh, Anjali Bhimani.
All right, good for you. All right.
It's either Anjali or Anjali Bhimani.
Okay.
So
these all-stars will be playing as their pets to raise funds and awareness for animal welfare and rescue efforts through Petco Love.
Oh,
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, no,
That is
Petco.
really cool.
I'll give Petco some crap because they do still sell live animals, not dogs and cats, but they do still, so I'm still going to give them some crap. But they do a lot of good also, and Petco Love is a very good charity, so I'm glad to see that. They do a lot for rescues.
That's good. All right. Dungeon Masters, the music of David Arkenstone.
Cool.
David Arkenstone joins us to show the power of immersive D&D storytelling through music in a special live concert event. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He's a 5-time Grammy-nominated composer. Oh, shoot. He and a live orchestra perform the Dungeon Masters soundtrack. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I have never heard of him, but 5 Grammys is... Oh, 5 Grammy nominations. Look, that nomination or wins, as far as I'm concerned, it's the same thing because it's, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so... not suspicious. I'm so about music when it comes to D&D. I just think of like Filkers and all that silliness. Yeah. But
well, I mean, it sounds like he does. It says it captures scale, wonder, and drama of the game in a whole new way.
No, I think it sounds great.
I think it's going to be probably more like orchestrated type, like Conan style music. Oh my God! Oh, that's the one in Iceland. Can
you read that?
Cannot.
So Brian says, get Peter to do a story about a TTRPG game set in Iceland at the base of the volcano. Eyjafjallajökull. Eyjafjallajökull is how I think it's said. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, and the last thing they're going to have, the last thing that they're listing right now, I'm sure it's going to grow.
Yeah.
Dungeon Masters live play.
And Jasmine Buller, isn't that the DM from the new Wizards
I believe so.
thing? So that's going to be a big deal because she's going to be a celebrity.
That's a 3.5 hour thing. So it's alive. It's going to be a live play.
And again, all the proceeds going to Extra Life, which we've also done charity stuff for. So in that sense, we're exactly the same as wizards.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's it. That's what Gen Con's up to. Or not Gen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wizards is at Gen Con. So
Wizards, Gen Con, all that stuff.
yeah.
All right, cool. This next story is something that I stumbled across on Reddit from the creator asking for people to give some feedback on a thing that they are in the middle of doing. And it just sounded so cool that I wanted to do a story about it. And the title of our story for this is Fishing in D&D. I never really thought about it, but yeah, so fishing can be a downtime activity. So, in D&D, you have downtime activities, things you're doing between the adventures. This can be ways, in first edition AD&D, it would be how you would supposed to level up. In between adventures, you're supposed to go and do your training and things like that. I don't think they worry about that anymore, but you still can do a lot of things between adventures. Building up your keep or whatever if you're high enough level, or just training or learning things or going shopping. And one of the things you might do is go fishing. So there's no rules in D&D for fishing. And so Aaron Lore, now I can't pronounce something. Lawere, I can't even spell. Lawerenz, Lorenz, I think. Aaron Lorenz, who also goes by Velios, I'm going to go with Velios, is creating a thing called Miri's Guide to Fishing. It's in beta right now. It's currently at a 0.3 beta, but the free beta rules are available online. And also he has a complete book available for his Patreons. So that's pretty cool and a good idea. Put some stuff for your Patreons. We do that. But I got the free book. I downloaded it. It's really interesting, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. So, first of all, he's created something to be compatible with both versions of 5e as well as D20. Although reading through it, it's a little more 5e oriented. There's just kind of things that say, here's how you would do it with D20. And it seems like this has been inspired by and is compatible with a couple of other third-party books that have been out for a while. One of them is called Kibble's Compendium of Craft and Creation. We see up on the screen there. And the other one is Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting. So it kind of is, because you can go fishing, which is like monster hunting, and craft and creation. You can actually make things to make yourself a better fisher. And I think you can make things with some of the fish as well. So in this, there is both a module, an adventure that's kind of fishing oriented, which I guess would make sense if you were doing like a salt marsh or something.
Right.
And some fishing rules in the little fishing mini game, which I thought was neat. So the mini game basically has 5 steps. You go through preparation, which is you're basically saying how I'm about to go fishing. How am I going to do it? So you choose your method, your bait, your tackle, and the GM determines the terrain or the conditions. And then you hook a fish. I don't think that makes sense. It's weird for hook a fish to be the second thing, because it just says you check for your rarity and value. Then there's the species check. So the GM checks to see what species this fish is. And then, so okay, I guess, yeah, you hook the fish and you haven't caught it yet. You've just hooked it. So it does make sense. I don't go fishing, so I have to remember this stuff. Do you go fishing?
No, I have when I was a kid. I'm not into fishing anymore.
Yeah, I went when I was a kid, but only with other people doing all the work. And I would go, quote unquote, fishing out at the lake near where we lived. But what I really did was I would get a boat and I'd go out in the middle of the lake with my fishing rod and my weight on the end and no bait. Because I had no intention of catching anything. I just wanted to sit on the boat. I didn't want people to ask me why I was sitting on the boat. But in this, so you go preparation, hook a fish, so you check to see, what's out there. Species check, so the GM checks which specific species it is. And then there is the fishing contest check. So it's just basically opposed rolls between you and the fish to see if you catch the fish, or does the fish escape.
Do you have to roll initiative?
No,
I'm kidding.
yeah.
I'm kidding.
If you get surprised and the fish comes at you from behind and like taps you on the shoulder, like
right. Wait a minute. Do you get an attack of opportunity then?
Yeah. And then finally, resolution. So that's when you find out specifically what the size, the value of these special results. There's rare fish and there's mundane fish. You can catch the mundane fish and you can basically just sell them for a few copper pieces, or you can get the rare fish and they grant you special fisher XP. So not your regular experience points, but ones just as a fisher.
Okay.
There's bonuses in here for your proficiency, fisher level, because you can go up in your fisher level. It's like a secondary class almost, but it's just a off-season class.
Hey, wait a minute. If you get to become the best, get the highest, are you the Fisher King?
There you go. You're the Fisher King.
Yep.
You also get bonuses for tool specialization and magic items. And there's situational bonuses as well for things like the train and all that. So some of the tools you can get. So there's a rod, a fly rod, a net, a spear, a harpoon, and something called a deep rod, which is for deep sea fishing. And these have different kind of bonuses and penalties depending on what you're doing with them. And then you can go and fish in different areas, wetland, coastal, volcanic. You can go way out in the ocean, go deep sea fishing. And as you do it, you go through the different levels, going from beginner to apprentice, all the way up to grandmaster eventually. And there's some pretty cool little tables in here that I see you had up on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just some of the fish that are out there. There's the lower ones, like there's the happy mud frill, which is just a small frilled axolotl with a wide blank smile. And for that, there's the materials you get out of it. So you can get mudfill slime out of it. Going up to things like the mesmer belly. This one's kind of cool. It's a large translucent tadpole with a magically mesmerizing stomach. Eye contact with its innards enchants one's mind. So if you catch that fish, you now have some enchanting innards that you can use to enchant people.
Yes, that sounds delicious.
Well, not, yeah. The Bogfang Leviathan. This is a massive swamp serpent. You're going to need a special tool for this. I don't know which tool you need. It's a little confusing to me on the charts here. But you'll need a special tool to catch the Bogfang Leviathan, which is a massive swamp serpent with a dragon-like head that erupts to crush and engulf prey whole. If the fisher loses the contest, they have to make a DC 25 dexterity save. And on failure, you are swallowed and dragged into the mire.
Oh, well.
So this is some proper sport fishing. Now it's a sport. You can get eaten by the fish too.
Damn.
I love it. Yeah, and they go on and on. They go up to like the violent skull ringer, the kraken carp or kraken carp. There's a ton I mean, the fish in here are amazing. So I think it's cool. I've never seen fishing taken to this level in D&D or any fantasy game. And I love the fact that there's something that I've never seen before, and we're 50 years into D&D, and somebody's finally written a book on fishing. Unless somebody else has already done it, and I don't know about it. In which case, folks write in and tell me about it. But I think this is really cool. So if you look in, it's Miri, M-I-R-I, Miri's Guide to Fishing. And dig around for it. I'm sure it'll be out soon officially. And in the meantime, it's made by the person I said. It's made by Velios, V-E-L-I-O-S. So look for Miri's Guide to Fishing from Velios. And it's neat stuff.
All right. Our final story. Actual Play Database Series Seeker saved from deletion. So Series Seeker was a site that had hosted data on hundreds of actual plays, but went down earlier this year. The domain was gone. Site had been re-registered by a squatter. That happens that fast?
It does, because there are people who make a living on domains, and it's a numbers game. There's not a lot of money in it. So they just sit there and they just register and register. They got scripts. They basically watch for any domain that gets removed from the registry.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how their scripts decide which ones are worth buying, but they just buy them up. And they just throw some spam on it, and they sit there and they wait for somebody to come and pay them money. I think half the time what they do is they probably sell it back to the person who lost it.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen when I was looked for websites in the past, and it's like, it'll say unavailable, but for sale for $5,000 or
Yeah.
$15,000. I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah, and you can go and you can make a offer. It's kind of sad because there's things that are better and there's things that are worse about it. When it was more of a wild west, it was a lot easier to get claim jumped than it is today. Because now, if your domain expires, first of all, they're sending you emails like crazy in the last
Hmm.
couple of months before it happens. They're
Right.
doing everything they can because they want to keep getting your money. And then even when it expires, you typically almost every registrar has a grace period, which can
Right.
be between 30 and 90 days.
Yeah, I was gonna say I seem to remember one of the websites I had the grace period was 90 days.
Yeah. And so back in the day, there were no grace periods. And that's how I was claim jumped. I had permission.com. I was the first person ever to register permission.com. Bought it in 1996 or something. And it was for my magazine, Permission.
Hmm.
And somewhere in the late 90s, I missed my renewal date. And because there was no grace period, somebody snagged it from me. And I found out later it was Seth Godin, the guy who wrote the book Permission Marketing, that he had paid a service to watch for when it went down and to grab it. Rather than coming to me face to face and saying, I'd like to buy it from you, he did this underhanded claim jumping way of getting it. And when I went to him and said, could I please buy it back? I'm just a kid. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, come on, man. This is my whole thing. He's like, sure, I'll sell it to you for $100,000.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Seth Godin's a prick. So, you know, thankfully it's not so easy to get claim jumped like that anymore. But on the other hand, if you ever want to buy a domain, you have to go through all of those kind of scammy services where they're taking money everywhere. I registered a four-letter domain in the early 2000s that I'd been looking for. The guy who owned it, it wasn't that hard to look him up at the time. I found him. I took him out to dinner. I basically said, look, I've got $1,000 in an envelope. I will give this to you right now. It's all I can afford. I brought it with me because it's all I can afford. He's like, sure. And he took it. And that was that. I got my domain. Whereas
Okay.
today, if I wanted a four-letter domain, it would be $100,000 easily.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
God, I remember listening to the radio. That's how long ago this was, because who listens to radio? I don't. And I think I was on my commute to work, and they announced that the last three-letter domain had been purchased. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh wow. I was like, damn, I should have bought several of those when I had a chance.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, if it wasn't for me getting that domain, we wouldn't be doing Solarian right now because I ended up turning around and selling it afterwards because I really tried to build a business on it and my
Mhm.
startup didn't work. And so I sold it for a big amount of money and I used that to fund Gygex magazine.
Ah, okay.
So there you go.
There you go. All right. So on with the story.
Yeah, back to the story.
Series Seeker might have been the largest publicly available digital database of actual play. Um, but I'm sorry, I lost my place. Actual plays in the world. Annie Monteverdi.
Monteverdi. Green Mountain.
AKA Gnome Annie. I'm just gonna
Gnome
call her Gnome
Anne.
Annie.
Gnome Anne.
And right, you don't say the E, right?
Right,
Gnome
because
Anne.
that's why I put the comic in the thing.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Extracted the HTML backup from archive.org in order to save the data. That's pretty cool. I never thought anybody doing that. I know people go back there to look for things, like somebody will, do something nefarious or something and they'll delete their website. And then people go, oh, no, you don't. And they'll
Yep.
go back to archive.com and grab all the shit that they put up that they shouldn't have put up. But I'm sure people do, but I've never heard of anyone doing it for something like this, something to preserve something.
It's amazing what they save because as a hobbyist in the vintage computer world, sometimes I need old drivers and old software that's been long scrubbed from the internet.
Oh,
Or,
drivers, right.
or even PDFs of manuals that are no longer online. And
Right.
archive.org often will actually, you can still download the software that used to be hosted on sites. They'll save everything.
Mhm.
So it's a lifesaver. And anybody out there who wants to donate to a good cause, donate to the Internet Archive. The entire internet's history is being saved by a very small number of people who are working for very little money.
Right.
It's
Yep.
not a government organization. It's not a big corporation. It's a volunteer effort.
And I think they host podcasts for people, and they're super cheap. So people who don't have a lot of money and they want to start a podcast, they can do it at Archive.
Yep.
It doesn't have a whole lot of like features and stuff like that, but it does work.
Yeah, yeah. And if you are if you need audiobooks and you're not sighted, they actually have a lot of things that are only available through them because they have the audiobooks for things you couldn't get anywhere else. It's an amazing organization.
Yeah.
And Gnome Ann is actually a volunteer there. And yes, this is the comic where I think she got her name from.
Okay.
This is an XKCD comic. I don't know if you want to explain it or if I should, whatever you like.
Well, it's an XKCD. It's stick figure, and it's called The Legend of Gnome Ann. Let's see. Time and tide wait for Gnome Ann. The wicked flee when Gnome Ann pursueth. Proverbs 28. Oh God, she's gonna get removed from Board Game Geek. What? Therefore God hath joined together, let Gnome Ann put asunder. Mark 10:9. Time ripens all things. No man is born wise. Miguel de Cervantes. Our mission to boldly go where no man has gone before. Awesome.
This is a visual pun, folks. You've got to see it spelled out like a gnome, like a garden gnome. Her name's Anne. So to boldly go where no man has gone before. She's already been here. Star Trek shows up. No man's already there.
Fool, no man. All right, here we go. Here's you got the head Nazgul, the Witch King, and is being stabbed by no man. It says, "Fool, no man can kill me. I am no man."
Oh, it's one of the best comics.
That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. So anyway,
good for her being no man.
Yeah. So this it represents the first standardized metadata schema I've ever seen being used to meaningfully describe
actual
play AP as more than just a digital object. It's also, as far as I'm aware, the largest repository of descriptive metadata about actual plays. From an information science, archival, or historic perspective, it's an important resource for documenting and preserving the context of the medium. That was a quote, by the way.
And I think this is a really good thing to think about because so often we make things and think it's not a big deal. It's just something fun on the internet. No big, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then we look back and we get so entranced by the history of something that happened 100 years ago. Oh, look at this amazing. But when they were making it, it was no big deal. It was just a little thing.
Right.
And yeah, we save movies, we save television shows, we archive books and all these kind of things. But back in the early days of film, they thought it was just a throwaway medium. And so film would just get thrown away. It would just or burned up. Videotapes. A lot of the Doctor Who TV shows were gone because somebody at the BBC needed the tape for something, so they just taped over it.
Yeah, there's like a whole. I forget. There's like, it's an entire season that they taped over, or maybe two?
I don't. Yeah,
I know there's an entire season they taped over.
Yeah, and so preservation activities by people who managed to find one that maybe a television station had saved. They went through a lot to save that, and so many mediums are treated as disposable. And then people later go, "Oh, I really wish we had saved that." An actual play, that's another one. Okay, so it's 5 people sitting around playing a game on YouTube. Big deal, right? Mm-hmm. But and there's all the data that these guys were putting together about it. That's actually really valuable. It's creating a history of gaming.
Yeah.
And so when it just gets wiped, we lose something. We lose a big part of our history.
Yeah. So she stripped the HTML
I put it copyright because basically strip the HTML off because the way copyright works, if you create something, you own the copyright. So she took out the parts that whoever made this created themselves and only kept the parts that were crowdfunded or crowdsourced.
Crowdsourced data, yeah. And then it says here the full data set is available as a JSON file. What is a JSON file, by the way?
It's basically
I've seen a bunch of those.
It's nothing more than just a data format. It's just a way to take a bunch of data and put it in a format that is predictable so that whenever an app wants to use it, it knows what it's looking at.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, it stands for something. I don't know what it is.
And the quote here is, "Sharing is preservation."
Oh, yeah, because she's basically saying, here's this JSON file, and she's spreading it around to people and saying, please, the more we share it, the more it is going to be robust. It won't get lost.
Yeah. And as you said, she's a volunteer with the Internet Archive. Her current project is to build out an expansive and comprehensive actual play collection on the Internet Archive. Well, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
She talks about the importance of digital archiving, especially in the face of, oh boy, here we go, AI generated fake history and sites like the fake Four Pillars site by our buddy Ken Whitman.
Yeah, and this is very near and dear to my heart, this particular issue, because it's so easy for history to get lost. Humanity existed for what, 300,000 years before we wrote anything down?
Yeah, I think we, yeah, that sounds about right.
Whatever the number is. If it was 100,000 years,
That
it was
sounds pretty close.
500,000
No,
years. But
it's over 100.
I mean, when we think about how far back the Roman Empire seems, and that was only 2,000 years ago, for 100 times as long as that, there were human beings living their lives and doing things. And if we had a record of that, if people had been able to write things down, imagine, how rich humanity would be. And even just 2,000 years ago, we know a lot about the Roman Empire because they wrote so many things down, but we don't know everything.
No.
We don't know what their music was. We know what some of their music was like. We don't know who their famous people were. We don't know what their lives were like at every level. We've lost the Library of Alexandria. We lose so much when we lose our history. I mean,
Right.
when the Taliban blew up those Buddhas, they
God.
just that's a crime against humanity.
That hurt, man. That hurt when they did that.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'm not into that. It's just history.
yeah, it's humanity. It's our story. We're nothing if we're not our stories. Scott Congable says, very 1984-ish, memory holing things, and very Fahrenheit 451. I really think it's a crime against humanity to willfully destroy history.
Yeah.
And the danger that we're seeing right now with AI is that there's a lot of people just for funsies going, oh, look, I made this funny picture of these two historical figures hanging out together, and it looks so real, and they never did. And so what happens when somebody finds that 50 years later and they don't have the context?
Right.
Suddenly they don't know what really happened. And that's kind of what sites like that Four Pillar site are doing. They're putting up this fake history of gaming because it serves their personal need at the moment. But somebody later is going to pick that up and repeat it. And there is I don't remember the name of the guy, like Boitano or something. It's somebody with a B, somebody's law that basically says that it takes 50 times as much effort to tell the truth as it does to make up a lie. And so things that are fake spread faster because you can make them quickly because you don't have to be telling the truth.
Right.
You can make them more interesting so people are more likely to share them because ooh, look at this cool fake fact.
Right.
And you can make an AI picture of something that looks amazing compared to, I'm seeing people constantly sharing fake pictures of Tim Berners-Lee creating the World Wide Web. There's real pictures of him doing this. They're just not particularly glamorous. It's a nerd sitting in a poorly lit room with a computer. So they make up these fake AI pictures that look great, but they've got nothing to do with what really happened.
Right.
So you got in this world where anybody can just make up some crap and have it look better than the real thing. It's really important to have people like Anne out there protecting the things that matter. Who else would care that a database of actual play disappeared? They'd be like, whatever. But actually having that, and it's fine now, but imagine in 20 years when you want to remember what kind of games were being played in 2024 or whatever.
Mhm.
And how were people doing it? And how did they treat them? And what did they think of them at the time?
I mean, look, think of it
There it
like
is.
this. Just imagine what it'd be like if there was actual play type stuff back in 1978.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
people would go crazy to like see what that was like. Imagine you could actually get a recording of, a game in Gary's basement.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's little bits of film that get found every now and then, and I've seen some clips of Gary at Gen Con 1 or 2 or whatever, just talking a little bit, and just that 60 or 90 seconds is so valuable because you can never go back and get it again.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I was just watching my cousin. He used to videotape stuff back in the day, and we're watching a video, and I walk, and I was like 26 at the time. Beautiful, friggin' boy band hairdo. I mean, it was. I mean, that's what my wife says. It wasn't really boy band, but she said, you had pretty hair. Anyway, so imagine this, totally covered in awesome hair, and it looked like the mid '90s. It looked my clothes and everything. It's very mid '90s, but that was wild watching that, And I'm talking to my ex-wife at the time, and it was like Christmas time. Kids are running around and stuff. I'm just like, wow, that is powerful. So yeah, seeing that kind of stuff from back then can be quite powerful.
Yeah, it's really important to save the things we can save, and to more importantly be able to organize them in a way that they're useful for something. So that's why what she's doing is particularly great, because she's not just saying, okay, we've saved the actual plays, because I'm sure people have backups of those videos and everything, but having the database that you can actually use to go and say, I want to see this game played at this time by this type of people for this length of time or whatever is in the database, that makes it a lot more valuable. So basically just thank you, Ann Monteverde. Thank you, Gnome Ann. No man can destroy the internet. I am no man. Or, no man can save the internet. I am no man. All right. Well, that's our stories for this week, isn't it?
Yep, that's it.
All right. So where are we going to be in 6 days?
Oh, we are going to be. Well, I'm going to be up your way.
Yeah.
I'll be at ModCon.
We're going to be at ModCon. We've got a pretty full house for it. There's still room for players. There's no more room for games. We got so many games to play. So there's still room for some players to show up. We will have on-site registration if there's enough tickets left. But I'd recommend people get them ahead of time by going to modcon.games and showing up. We got the banners came in. I've got my outfit all picked out. I got my pretty white tutu. I'm ready to go.
Right.
So,
and I'm gonna be wearing one of the T-shirts that any one of you all could be wearing too.
Yeah,
if you wanted.
Oh, hey, this is just as we're wrapping it up. Question here from Mike Pickett. I think this is a good one. He says, is it better to be watching you guys on Facebook or YouTube? Because we do stream this live to both. I'm going to say YouTube.
Yeah.
Because YouTube is more of a public record of things. It's more searchable, and it's where it helps us most to get the subscribers. So I would say you can do either one, whichever one's convenient for you. Yeah. But if you're asking, I would say, yeah, probably YouTube.
Yeah, because Facebook purges videos after a time, whereas our YouTube channel does not.
Right. I have a suspicion that YouTube downsamples things after a time, so I try to save stuff. Okay. But still, yeah, YouTube. All right. So Patreon subscribers, you can join us in the after party over on Discord in just a few minutes. I will refresh my drink, and Peter will get his boy band hair back real quick.
Oh, God.
And then we'll see you over there on the Patreon, and hopefully we'll see some of you at ModCon next week.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody.